The belief by CARITAS Zambia and CARITAS Livingstone is that although Zambia is a poor country, it possesses great potential seen through the eyes of the gospel and Catholic social teaching. This potential can be harnessed to work towards sustainable development for rural communities.
This is my garden. This is the place I use for making manure compost. These are the materials I use for making manure compost.
Mr. Masole is one of the first farmers who leaped at the idea of sustainable agriculture when it was first introduced by CARITAS Livingstone under the Kulima project.
Our concept is that our area naturally has very bad soils, sometimes acidic. You know, they are not as loamy as you could use, a lot of sandy soils. So our concern is that apart from ensuring that people have, access to food at household level, we are concerned with the soils, so that in the long run, the soils can be preserved and that people can still continue having food at the end of the day. And this is why we are discouraging the scientific methods in our case, because first and foremost, because of our area, the nature of our soils, and the nature of the food insecurity that we incur.
The term Kulima is very common in most Zambian languages. Kulima means to plow or to till the land. The term Kulima therefore fits in well with CARITAS's history and focus of working with vulnerable but viable rural and grassroots communities throughout Zambia.
When the Kulima project was introduced in our area, we started to put into practice what we were taught about this kind of farming. They said sustainable agriculture helps to maintain soil fertility. In this field, we used mulching so that we preserve moisture. The grass is then left to decompose to become manure for our fields. I also learned the importance of crop rotation. Here where we are, there are groundnuts. Last year, we planted maize. Maize uses a lot of soil nutrients. Groundnuts put back nutrients into the soil. In this other field, we used intercropping. This is equally good because one crop uses a lot of nutrients while the other fixes it back. What we planted here is
marigold. This is a repellent. This is a biological control of pests and diseases. When
you check in this pot, you would see that I used mulching. I have seen that it is working.
When proper practices are used in sustainable agriculture, we expect the yield to be far much better than conventional agriculture, because we know that we are sure that we have soil fertility in the soil, as well as the cover crops. The land is protected from heat, and when we sow our seeds, we already even know that the plant population is going to be okay, because we have already even measured the spacing, unlike in conventional agriculture where someone will just sow the seed behind the plow. They don't even measure the spacing. One crop can be here, the other one there. Here we know that the spacing is okay, so the plant population is maintained, hence the yield will be high.
CARITAS Zambia, working closely with CARITAS Livingstone, is therefore preparing a way for securing climate change resilient sustainable development. In so doing, CARITAS seeks to improve household food security in the country. The Kulima project is being implemented in 2 districts of southern and western provinces, namely Sesheke, and Kazungula. Already, more than 100 farmers have been reached under this project.
Looking at the area or the region itself, we usually receive less rains. So that is the reason why we even promote basins and also reaping, because the whole concept is to conserve moisture. And the little rains that we receive, we have to make sure that at least it supports the crops until the season ends. So this actually seems to be working in most of the areas that we are working. A farmer has to practice as much as possible minimum soil disturbances. And in minimum soil disturbances, we have reaping, we also have potholing, and also permanent ridges. But for permanent ridges, it depends to the area and the soils that are there. Permanent ridges, mostly they are encouraged in areas where it gets waterlogged all the time. But if you look at our areas, we have sandy soils. So we promote reaping and potholing.
In order to score meaningful results, CARITAS staff are ever on the ground, meeting and talking to farmers. By listening to concerns and challenges facing farmers, CARITAS in return encourages the farmers to remain steadfast.
Do you have many people practicing sustainable agriculture in your village?
At the moment, there are a few. Those of us who went for training are the ones practicing it because we have seen the benefits. Some of our friends are also encouraged and come here to learn.
It is pleasing to CARITAS Zambia and CARITAS Livingstone that through Mr. Masole, they have someone who acts as a teacher and lead farmer to encourage starters.
We encourage our farmers to at least take out the knowledge they learn to give it to other farmers as well within the communities. The method we use for training our farmers is study circles. We give them materials that they can study on their own. They sit and learn different topics in sustainable agriculture. So when those study circles are taking place, even non-participating farmers can come along. Then they learn, then they go and practice.
I stay with my husband, my child and my grandchild. I have 6 children and 8 grandchildren. Some are grown-ups and have their own homes. We thank CARITAS for their support. Development has now come to our area in Chief Mukuni's chiefdom.
The Kulima project attempts to identify specific needs of target groups through communication and cooperation, making sure that the needs of the community are being addressed. Put differently, this is what is also known as an integrated approach to programming that addresses both economic and social issues within the community.
That is tephrosia. It works to kill some of the termites that attack our crops. We also have pigeon peas. It helps to put back nitrogen into the soil, and it also acts as manure.
Conscious of the importance of engaging with other bodies active in the field of sustainable agriculture, CARITAS Livingstone works with Kasisi Agriculture Training Center. Kasisi Agriculture Training Center of Lusaka trains identified farmers.
For our trainings, sometimes we work hand in hand with Kasisi Agricultural Training Center, where we sometimes take our farmers for different types of trainings. We might not take all of them at a go to go and learn from there. At least we have 2 lead farmers in each community, a male and a female. So if there is any training, let's say in biological control, we get the lead farmers from all our communities, we take them to Kasisi where they are trained, so that when they come back, they are able to train the other farmers within the group. Again, we do not only deal with our participating farmers alone. The information that they gain from us or from Kasisi, they are able to train even other non-participating farmers within the community.
The Kulima project is bound to grow because CARITAS Livingstone continues to seek new farmers to strengthen the network that they have built so far.
We encourage our farmers to at least take out the knowledge they learn to give it to other farmers as well within the communities. So, for instance, in Libala, each participating farmer has at least 5 non-participating farmers whom they teach whatever they learn, so that the knowledge is taken up in all these communities. As well as in Namapande, for example, some non-participating farmers also come to learn together with the participating farmers. We have at least 40% of females and 60% of males.
Mr. Masole and his family are already reaping the results of engaging in farming which is friendly to the environment.
Nendiri kwete bakaindu, then there are bali 5.
I am married with 5 children. The 3 older children assist in the fields. Through this type of farming, we harvest enough to feed the family. We do not starve anymore. We have enough to eat.
In these areas where we are working, we are also experiencing some challenges because there are other government programs which are running, and these programs, their approach actually, it's they are giving out fertilizers to these farmers, and you'd find that the farmers that we are working with are also living in these communities, and they are seeing that these fertilizers which are being given, they are at a cheaper price, and they're given to others. So they are also tempted like to go and get the same fertilizer, conflicting with what we are training them. So you find that it is very difficult for them to shift from use of fertilizers to go entirely on sustainable agriculture. And also would say some other challenges, you'd find that in these areas where we're working, it's too sandy. They've got sandy soils, and we are promoting the use of potholing. And you normally would say that potholing has to start immediately after harvesting. So you find that the farmers face a challenge in terms of if they have to prepare their land early, their fields will find that by the time the rains starts, it's like there's nothing that they did at all. So really would want to target more than 100 farmers. And because of the limited resources that we have, we can't do that. So it's really something that the diocese would actually request from other well-wishers or even donors to come up so that together we support these farmers and help them to move forward, to help them to have high productions, which is going to actually even help and also contribute to the MDG of poverty reduction.
CARITAS' vision is to ensure that by the end of the Kulima project, farmers will not only achieve increased food production and nutritional security, but also make sure that the soil is preserved. This is in line with calls by many world organizations for sustainable agriculture and development, which has not only become a catchy phrase in addressing climate change, but is a true, authentic way of life and farming.
We do not necessarily give farming inputs to our farmers. We give them knowledge. Our farmers are empowered to know what sustainable agriculture is, so that they are able to use that knowledge for their benefit.
People, on the other hand, are seeing that those who are involved in the program, despite the erratic, rainfall patterns that we normally have, at the end of the day, they have food on the table. So they are wondering how. It's because of the sustainable practices that we are doing with them, coupled with the promotion of winter cropping. Also, would like them, to be engaged not only in rain-fed crops, but also to be engaged in, water harvesting techniques, so that at the end of the day, they are able to have food, they are able to have gardens and so forth. So the program is working very well, and we seem to be succeeding.